Well, hello again, Pat. Welcome back to Flowery Branch.
Great to be here. The weather is absolutely amazing. I've been all over the NFC South, and it's been hot and terribly humid, but we got a great day here today, and I think the players really enjoyed it this morning, so they got a lot of work in, and it was good.
Yeah, fans, well, we'll turn right here. I don't know if you can tell, but that is cloud cover in Flowery Branch, and it doesn't happen very often. Well, hey, Pat, you and I were talking out on the field, and we kind of laugh because people want to see, what do you see out of a guy? What does he look like? It's really, really hard during training camp because there's no tackling.
It is.
I know you put out your 5 things to watch in camp. You've been here for 2 days. What's the update? What do you see?
Well, just from what I'm seeing and hearing and talking to coaches and players, let's start with cornerback. I know that's a position of interest. Brent Grimes seems to be the guy that has the edge for that job right now. Coaches, players are raving about his athletic ability. Yes, his height is a bit of a question mark, but he's the kind of guy who's so athletic and has such great leaping ability that he can kind of make up for that lack of height. The strong side linebacker position with Stephen Nicholas is another position that I know a lot of people are interested in. Looks like, from everything I've seen and heard, like the Falcons pretty much decided that he's going to be their guy there. And then Perea Jerry, your first-round pick, is looking very solid in the middle of that defensive line. So I think the obvious questions are being answered and answered pretty nicely right now. Obviously the Harry Douglas injury hurts. But every team has injuries, and there's almost a rash of them right now in the NFC South. Everybody's got some pretty prominent players banged up, so it's important for the Falcons to stay healthy the rest of the preseason and go into the regular season with as healthy a roster as they can.
So perhaps on defense, no more questions about who's going to be in those spots, just questions about can they perform,
right,
and do they have the experience.
And it's a work in progress. I know Coach Smith uses the word process quite a bit, and that's all very true. Guys like Stephen Nicholas and Brent Grimes have been in the system for a while. They know what they have. They're guys who fit this system. Yes, there might be some ups and downs early on, but in the long term, I think they're going to be very good players because they were designed for this system and schooled in this system, so I think it'll work out well.
You were here yesterday for what Coach Smith called possibly the hardest practice in camp. Today he gave the guys a little break, took their pads off. You've seen some different coaches in your career and in the NFC South. How does Coach Smith rank in terms of how he runs a camp?
One of the best. Honestly, that was one of the first things that impressed me about him last year when I was here. The way he controls the tempo of camp. He'll go hard for a few minutes, and then there'll be a little break where there's a little bit of education going on where the coaches are talking to players. He also seems to have a good sense of where his team is at, when they need a break, when they need to go hard, and I think that's a skill that's vastly underrated. There's some other coaches out there that have a tendency to go too hard and they get players hurt. I'm not saying Coach Smith goes too light by any means, but I think he's got the perfect mix or blend of when to go hard and when to go light.
You talked about the injury to Harry Douglas, and this team immediately went out afterwards and got 2 veteran guys in Marty Booker and Robert Ferguson. Does that say something perhaps about what this team feels like their chances could be to jump out and get 2 veterans and not maybe promote a younger guy right away?
Yeah, absolutely. They know they're in a situation where they can be a playoff contender, and they should be a playoff contender. And there's a lot of young guys on the roster at receiver, but nobody with much experience. They have Brian Finneran, and he's certainly in the mix. But outside of the 2 starters and Brian Finneran, there just wasn't a lot of experience. So they went out and they got some. And those are 2 guys who have produced in the league. And the early word I'm hearing is that they've been real impressed with what they've seen out of Ferguson in particular so far. Obviously, the preseason games are going to play a role in deciding all that, but so far Ferguson appears to be off to a very good start.
Stay on offense for a minute, and one thing you talked about in your blog is the whole Jarius Norwood, Michael Turner. Does Jarius get more carries? Does Turner carry the ball 376 times again? What are you hearing on that, and is it a realistic thought to think that you are going to take carries away from Michael Turner this year?
Yeah, well, I know I've been told by some people in the building, do not expect to see Michael carry 376 times again. It's too much to do in back-to-back years, but he's still going to carry the ball a lot, be it 325, 335, somewhere in that ballpark. Norwood, yes, I think there will be some more carries for him, but I also think Tony Gonzalez will, his as a pass receiver, will eat up some of those plays that were previously running plays. And I also think you're going to see a fair amount in Norwood as a receiver out of the backfield. I think you'll see more of Jarius this year than you have in the past. Falcons are certainly aware that he's a talented guy, but at the same time, you don't want to totally take the ball out of Michael Turner's hands. So it's a balance, and you know, they realize that they can't overload Michael. So I'm sure that they've thought about it a lot in the off season, and they'll work hard to find ways to get Jarius in there and get him the ball either on a handoff or as a receiver out of the backfield.
Pat, always nice to see you in Flowery Branch. Good luck on the rest of your tour, and I'm sure we'll see you around some NFC South games coming up soon.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thanks very much.